With each day that passes by throughout the month of October, we are only getting closer and closer to the official third and final trailer of The Rise of Skywalker, as well as the official release of this movie by Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, as you all know, Episode 9 is going to be a film that's really going to provide many different twists and turns and revelations to, of course, the Star Wars fans, and of course to the specific characters in this movie that will be affected by those revelations that will lead to saga-wide implications in, of course, the third and final film of the sequel trilogy that's going to bring it all to a close by Disney and Lucasfilm. Now, on top of all of this, a lot of fans have been wondering about the film's ending sequence and exactly how it's going to impact the audience, and of course, George Lucas and his role in all of this. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film thanks to press interviews by, of course, all these different media outlets speaking with J.J. Abrams, Kathleen Kennedy over at D23, Star Wars Celebration, the new Empire articles, and the EW articles, you name it. And what's really intriguing about all of this has all to do with George Lucas and his reaction to the final scene of Episode 9, where it's described that over at D23 when J.J. Abrams, Kathleen Kennedy, and others were answering many questions related to the upcoming film, it said that J.J. was eventually asked about George Lucas and his involvement with the final scene of the movie, where it's described that J.J. explains that George Lucas found the final scene of the film to be very awe-inspiring and that it brought him back to one of his special shoots on set for the prequel trilogy. J.J. states that George Lucas was very happy with the ending of the film, visually and story-wise, and that it couldn't have ended any other way for the fans. J.J. says that it was the very challenging moment in order to create the very ending of the sequence, not just for George, but also for himself to write and direct the scene on whether or not it would work well with fans. However, J.J. states that George had a large role and helped J.J. tremendously to end the film properly. So let's go over a couple of parts about this, about the ending sequence, the final scene of Episode 9. This is the same exact sequence that Kevin Smith actually talked about some months ago, where he said that the ending of the movie will melt your mind. And that's what the crew told Kevin Smith. J.J. Abrams even told Kevin Smith, it's probably best that you don't see it right now and that you only see it in theaters instead of being on set. And Kevin Smith allowed himself to just do that. And I think that that means that J.J. is doing something very special. The fact that J.J. was able to, basically just let the fans know that this is going to be a big scene for the Skywalker saga, and that even George Lucas is very happy with it, and that George worked very hard on that scene. It was very challenging, and that it really brought him back to one of his special shoots for, of course, the prequel trilogy. That really does open up one's, mind here as to what that really means. Now, how the final scene brought George Lucas back to one of his special shoots for the prequel trilogy era, could that very well mean that this particular scene and or sequence takes place on either A, a familiar world, or B, a familiar environment, or maybe even C, a specific character that is associated with the prequel trilogy era. We do know that this film is going to have tons of surprises. Even the man, Eunice Watama, who portrays Chewbacca, said that the entire movie is a I did not see this coming moment. And that really is big coming from Eunice, because we do know that he's, in this movie from start to finish for the most part. And that really is a big, bold statement to say that this entire movie is a I did not see this coming moment. So, with that being said, the fact that, George Lucas worked very closely with JJ in order to really make this ending scene a proper ending to the Skywalker saga, it really does make one wonder to themselves exactly whether or not this really is going to resonate with fans, and whether or not, George Lucas actually means all of these different things that he is actually expressing, of what he expressed to JJ, that JJ was able to provide over to the press during D23 and Star Wars Celebration and the Empire and EW articles, you name it. So I cannot wait to see exactly what this final scene entails. We do know, however, that it's going to have something to do with Darth Vader's legacy and Luke's legacy, as well as Palpatine, and that something to do with Rey will be in the mix. So I think that really does kind of allude to something related to the prequels, specifically since George Lucas, brought him back to one of his early shoots for the prequel trilogy era. Now, the last thing I want to touch on here is that we also know that the ending of Episode 9 was not really changed for the most part. We do know that Daisy Ridley confirmed at Star Wars Celebration that Parts of the ending were, yes, changed due to rewrites throughout the months of November and December. She was able to confirm that. But for the most part, it stayed the same. So basically, they're changing certain elements, or have changed certain elements of the ending of episode 9. That's actually going to be a big part of telling a specific story in The Rise of Skywalker. And I will admit, I am more optimistic and excited for this movie. The fact that George Lucas is heavily involved, with the movie, and how he directed many scenes and even wrote many scenes in the actual film during the rewrites and the adjustments of the second and third acts of this movie. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.